Happy Friday, everyone. So we thought it would be a good idea to kind of get into a debate here. So after Duke's close loss, 79-78 to Florida State on Tuesday night, it's now their third loss of the season, second ACC loss, and second loss on the road after losing to Ohio State in December. So we thought we would do a little debate. Can Duke still get a one seed? They're 14-3 now. They're 4-2 in the ACC. Right now, they're number 6 in the country, probably going to move down on Monday afternoon when the new AP Top 25 is released. So we're going to try and debate whether Duke can actually get a one seed in Coach K's final season. So Alex, what do you think about that?
I'm going to take probably the more common opinion right now as Duke comes off the loss, and that they are out of the running for a one seed. Their ceiling has now become the 2 seed, which they are in line to get, and I think most people are looking forward to them ending up as a 2 seed, but a 1 seed really does not become realistic with 3 losses and still a huge ACC slate to go.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take the other side of this one. I think it's possible because if you look at the teams that are currently like near locks for a 1 seed, I think you have to say Gonzaga is basically a lock with their schedule. I mean, St. Mary's, San Francisco, they'll still have to play those teams probably in the WCC tournament. But I would say Gonzaga is a lock. One of Baylor or Kansas, whoever wins the Big 12, is probably a lock, just based on the quality of wins they'll get in those tournaments, in that Big 12 tournament. And then I would have to say Wisconsin or Purdue, whoever wins the Big 10, and then that opens up one spot. And I think Duke could be that one spot. I think there's a group of teams. I know they're the number 2 team in the country, but Auburn is not a lock. They still have a really tough schedule. They play Kentucky tomorrow. I still think they could lose a couple games, and the SEC is a gauntlet, much bigger gauntlet than the ACC. So Kentucky, I think, is making a push. They're still only at 3 losses, same as Duke. Their offense is humming right now. They could make a run. Arizona, I think, is playing really well. They've shown that they're for real.
Only one loss for them, too.
Yeah, only one loss, and it was a tough road loss to Tennessee. So I think Duke's in that class, that next tier of teams that could probably get a 1 seed if they win. I think they would have to probably win the rest of their games except for one. I think they can only afford one more loss in ACC play, and I think it probably would have to be another road loss. They can't afford another home loss because it would really cost them.
I'll never say anything's impossible. We've seen crazier things happen in college basketball, but for Duke to get a 1 seed, they really have to run the table, plus a bunch of crazy losses by the other 4 teams that you outlined that could really take a 1 seed away from Duke. So, I mean, the world of college basketball has been crazy this year. A lot of teams losing games that they shouldn't, especially teams like Gonzaga and Baylor picked up back-to-back losses. So I will never say it's impossible, but I think the way Duke is looking right now, out of sync, that last game really raised a lot of questions about rebounding, where Duke's getting their offense from, why Paolo hasn't touched the basketball for the first 10 minutes of the second half. Duke needs to answer those questions, and they can't figure it out. And it looks like they are on track to not be able to figure it out right away. They might pick up another loss. They will have more challenging road games. Road has looked tough for them so far, and we know they're going to enter more hostile environments. So, I mean, even if they lose, if there's 1 loss in the ACC tournament, I think that's a likely loss for them. They play some tough teams. They don't have a shot at a 1 seed.
The one thing I'll say is, according to Ken Pom, Duke is projected to win all of its last ACC games. And that doesn't include a Clemson game, a road game that'll probably get rescheduled.
But according to Ken Pom, they're also projected 6 losses. Total on the season.
Yeah, but that's also just that's a simulation. So you have to think those games, 1 game in a vacuum. I think you would have to say Duke on paper should win all of them, and if on paper they should, then it's definitely possible. Yeah. And then you get to the ACC tournament. That's over. 3 games in 3 nights. The talent oftentimes wins out there, and just the preparation wins out there. And Duke obviously is going to be well prepared. So I think it's very possible. I don't think it's going to be any sort of slam dunk. They're going to have to basically win out, maybe lose a game. I can see them losing to UNC on the road. It's going to be a tough game, but I do think it's possible. And I think, again, we might have disagreements, but I think both of us know that Duke has a lot of issues right now. I mean, Paolo Banchero, again, did not touch the ball for a lot of the second half until the 5-minute mark. That doesn't make any sense. He's a top 3 draft pick. If Duke can figure that out and get him the ball in some favorable spots, then I think it's possible because they have the talent. They don't have a typical schedule, and they don't really have any terrible losses so far. So because Ohio State is ranked, Florida State is a bubble team that's now probably on the inside looking in. And Miami is in the tournament right now, so they don't have a bad loss yet. And Baylor does. Baylor lost to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's not going to be in the tournament, whether they're even though they're on probation, they wouldn't make it anyway. So Yeah, so that's kind of all we had. Anything else?
Yeah, I gotta say, my only other point would be that you said that Duke can get in with one more loss. I think one more loss really would be the whole kibosh on them being a 1 seed. 4 losses in the season. There are really going to be 4 teams that have present less than that. So.
All right. Well, there it is. All right. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Be sure to tune into all of our coverage from Cameron Indoor Stadium for Duke versus Syracuse tomorrow at noon. Thanks for tuning in and have a great weekend.